everyone? Welcome to this final 2020 edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host Albert Sita. We are going to close out 2020 with a kind of year in review, best of / recap of 2020 for this episode. Albert, how you doing, man? How's your Christmas?
Good. It was mostly for the kids.
Yeah.
So,
Albert's not
yeah, as an adult, Christmas isn't as special anymore.
It's
more for the kids. And then for every dad out there that has to build you can see right here in my office what I had to build. I mean, you got to build stuff the next day.
Is your toy building game strong now?
I wouldn't say it's strong, but it's there.
You got a lot of AA, AAA batteries too on hand?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, we hope everyone out there listening had a very good, very safe holiday season. 2020 has definitely been a year to remember, or hope we want to all forget. Yeah, just kind of a loss of words for what this year has given to us, and also most recently we just learned the untimely passing of John Huber, also known as Brody Lee, also known as Luke Harper, who passed away. Reports that he passed away on Saturday. Your thoughts on him as a performer, as a wrestler?
Yeah,
the Exalted One.
Not if people don't follow AEW, he actually had one of the bigger storylines in the whole show, and when he was in WWE, I don't think he was ever used to his full potential. He was always kind of one of those background figures.
Yeah,
and so it just sucks to see a guy get like that big push, that everybody in the wrestling industry wants, and
Yeah, well, I think he was definitely the worker of the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
When they needed somebody to go in a match, he's definitely way better than Bray Wyatt. Definitely way better than Eric Rowan. Definitely way better than Braun Strowman.
You know what's funny? He had a legit good match with John Cena.
Yeah.
I don't know if that says a lot about John Cena or more about Brody Lee, but he actually had a really good match with John Cena.
So he was, again, the worker, probably one of the best big men out there. But again, he was obviously sorry, I think I popped there. Obviously outshined promo-wise, or maybe never given the opportunity in WWE, because Bray Wyatt was out there giving those kind of crazy, Wyatt family promos. And almost like, we can't have somebody else in the group be as equally as talented on the mic because it'll take away from Bray Wyatt, right? So maybe that did hurt him in the long run, to where he was just kind of, okay, well, you're a background, you're the second member of the Wyatt family, you're the worker in the ring. But like you said, he got to get AEW, was the Exalted One for the Dark Order, and
they just let him loose, and
got to do a lot more promos, right?
He had a funny gimmick.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's got to let those type of guys loose.
Yeah, but definitely a very unfortunate, untimely passing. So our thoughts and condolences go out to his family, his friends, and everybody who was touched by Brody Lee. And a lot of fans out there are hurting. 2020, man, it just keeps getting worse and worse. We got like 4 more days.
Can we just finish
this year, please? Yeah, so today's show, we got kind of a year in recap. We're going to talk about our favorite fighters who had the best year, kind of best moments, both in MMA and professional wrestling. And then we'll kind of finish off with the year in review for like kind of pop culture, different area in sports and stuff like that. So we're going to keep it as lighthearted as possible. So, Albert, let's get started with round number 1, right? So, who had, in your opinion, the best 2020 in mixed martial arts?
To be honest, I'm going strictly off stardom. I'm not going off of how many times they fought and how successfully they fought, because there's I think it's going to be like a 4-way tie there.
Yeah.
But I think Izzy had Sonya had probably the best year, because I think this 2020 cemented, I think, who he is as a champion, as a draw. And I honestly think, outside of Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor is a special case, he's the face of UFC right now. I don't see any other champion in the division that's the face of UFC.
I think he can be if the UFC wants to get behind him and push him more. They're not doing it. Everywhere you look, it's Conor McGregor still, even though he hasn't fought for them. I think if the UFC, this is our guy. He's charismatic. He's got that style bender for a reason. For the Last Airbender, and for how he dances to the ring. I think he can be. If the UFC just says, "Hey, this is our guy," I like that a lot. I'm surprised you didn't go Khabib Nurmagomedov, the GOAT. All of a sudden now the greatest of all time. Everybody.
Heck no, you got to fight more than once a year to be the GOAT in my book.
He is kind of quote unquote retired from mixed martial arts, 29-0, beat Justin Gaethje, and now he's the greatest.
So is that your
ever.
pick? Are you pick?
No,
Are you pick?
no, not at all. I think you want to talk about stardom, and I think for me, maybe because it's the most recent in my mind, but the flyweight champion, Davidson Figueiredo, his kind of weird style.
Not mad at that
he
pick.
probably had the fight of the year with Brandon Moreno. He can be the one to bring new life to the flyweight division. Like I said, as long as he can, and he made weight two times in a row. So I think he really did a statement by knocking out Joseph Benavidez and saying, you know what, hey, we're done with the old, in with the new now. So I really think Davidson Figueiredo had probably for me the best 2020. Also, too, I want to give. We're talking about it before we start recording. On Mackenzie Dern went 3-0 in 2020.
Yeah, she
got a lot of
really
slack
good.
for just not only for her Brazilian accent or Portuguese accent, but she's 3-0. Got a lot of slack for just being, someone on Instagram who has a lot of followers. But 3-0, obviously not the top of the competition in her division, but pretty good foundation, don't you think, for 2021?
No, yeah. I remember before Mackenzie Dern's went out on her pregnancy leave.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like she was gonna be like more of a eye candy. I couldn't think of a better way to say it than a legit fighter. And I think she came back and reestablished herself at 20. Like, no, I'm not just a face.
Yeah.
I'm not just a cute jiu-jitsu girl.
I'm not an IG model.
Yeah, I'm not an IG model. So, yeah, she for sure. I think she showed everyone that she's here to compete. I mean, 3-0. I mean, tons of people really improved their records this year, which I thought was probably, if you want to say the best quality of UFC was that. I mean, how many people got a good winning streak out of this?
Yeah. Well, one of them is probably the knockout artist of 2020, Joaquin Buckley. He's almost killing guys in the ring. Also, Kevin Holland. Almost murdered Jacare. So this guy, I think he wanted to fight 6 times in 2020.
And then Big Khabib, what's his name? I'm a butcher his name, so I'm not even gonna try it.
Kazmat?
Yeah.
Kazmat? Or yeah.
I'm not even gonna try it.
Also, too, Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
But again, people want to talk crap about. We'll probably talk about this next round. But 2020 definitely the year. Not the best year for Tony Ferguson, but I also want to point out
he started off bad and ended bad.
But I also want to point out it was Tony Ferguson who headlined the first event when the pandemic started, right? Mm-hmm. When everything was canceled and the UFC said, hey, we're going to come back.
Did that championship shit.
It was Tony Ferguson on the card. Not Khabib. It was Tony Ferguson. And people want to talk all this crap about Tony Ferguson not being who he was, whatever. But guess what? Here she looks back at this, was her first fight in the pandemic. It was Tony Ferguson. Yeah, he may have gotten manhandled by Charles Oliveira, but what does it say about Tony Ferguson that now before this fight, nobody was talking about Charles Oliveira about being in the title contention, right? It was Gaethje, it was Chandler, it was Conor, it was Poirier, right? It was Tony Ferguson. All of a sudden, Charles Oliveira does what he does to Tony Ferguson. Now who's top of the line now? What does that say about Tony Ferguson? So, again, I'm on my soapbox with Tony Ferguson, but again, champ shit only in this house. For 5-round MMA, it's champ shit only. And Tony Ferguson all the way, no matter how crazy he is or what, he'll bounce back for 2021. That was probably my best and disappointed fighter of 2020. But who else do you think did have what other fighter had probably think the worst year?
The worst year?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You got to say... Well, even though he had a win, you know who I think didn't capitalize on it was the Reaper. Dude, I can't believe I can't think of his name right now.
Robert
Whittaker. Even though he had a win, and he had a win against a big opponent who had a lot of heat coming into his match. Yeah. But I feel like he didn't really capitalize on his 2020.
Yeah. So
and I would say that's a disappointment.
True. Also, shout out to Jan Blachowicz too for winning So real quick, we're gonna scroll down.
My boy Dominic Reyes.
So we have the current title holders: flyweight Davidson Figueiredo, bantamweight Peter Yan, flyweight Alexander Volkanovski, Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's retired. You got Kamaru Usman, Adesanya, Jan Blachowicz at light heavyweight, and Stipe for the male heavyweight champion.
We only had 2 champions that didn't fight. which was Zhang, but
no, Zhang fought in February.
Oh, she did fight. So
she had one of the fights of the year with Joanna. Remember, she got right. Homotoma with Yan.
So
with
it was just Peter Yan then.
I believe so, yeah.
So Peter Yan was the only champion not to fight in 2020.
And that bantamweight difference is kind of weird. Like it's people don't really talk about him.
Hey, but that's pretty good. That's more than what boxing can say. They can't even get champion to fight.
Out of all of them, Peter Yan is probably the most under appreciated champion because people are talking more about TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, Jose Aldo, and Dominic Cruz. They aren't about him, and people forget he's actually champion. So he should probably do more to get himself out there. But we'll see what he does. Also, go back to the women's one. You got Wei Yang, Valentina Shevchenko, who fought a couple times, and then Amanda Nunes as well.
Wait, did Amanda Nunes fight?
Yeah, she fought in June.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think she fought. I think she defended her featherweight title. I mean, she's the champ.
The champ.
So
it was you're right. It was
I think GDR. I think Duran, did he? I think it was
something. No, Maya.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Somebody. Yeah. So out of all these champions, who do you think is still champion in 2021? Any of them? They all lose their title?
In my best case scenario, I think they all lose except for Izzy.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even Amanda Nunes.
I think
she has Megan Anderson coming up.
I think the numbers coming. Sometimes you just feel it like in the air, like with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Where after they get this mystique.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, I think someone's gonna be upset. I think all of them, except for Izzy, I think we see new champions head to toe.
Okay, that's it for this round. We're gonna come back and talk about our best fights, our favorite fights, favorite moments in MMA coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 2. So now we're going to focus on our favorite moments of the year. Get this timer started. So, obviously, year started off great. Conor McGregor fought Donald Cerrone. We had that awesome fight between Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk right before the pandemic kind of struck worldwide, and all of a sudden the world shuts down. I think we went 8 weeks without a UFC event, which is kind of unheard of nowadays since they have one every weekend. We saw the Fight Island. We saw the Apex Center turn into a permanent housing residence for the UFC. But Albert, what are some of your top moments of MMA in 2020? Besides the reformation of 5-round MMA, of course.
It has to be Fight Island because before we saw what Fight Island was going to be, just the thought of having like a Fight Island was like something you read like in comic books. Like it's literally a scene out of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, or like an 80s action movie, right? Like Bloodsport, right? I gotta go to like some Jean-Claude Van Damme. I gotta go to Fight Island to fight for something, right? So that's what it sounds like.
The Kumite was happening. So just the buzz around that alone was exciting. And then even though like you didn't get to see the fighters fight on like the beach, which I think would have like visually it would have just been amazing.
Yeah.
But come on, you have to be logistically doable.
I know. I think
Fight Island I think was the moment.
I think a couple days ago, Dana White tweeted out like a pat on the back shoulder video to himself, like I did a great job this year being the only sports league or the first sports league. Like, dude, calm down. Like, yeah, you're the first, but like logistically, you don't have 30 teams to worry about with X amount of players. You just got to worry about getting the 15 fighters or so
in different cities too.
Yeah. So granted, he did a good job. But also too, a lot of other promotions out there held cards. Bellator held events. A lot of regional promotions held events. Bare Knuckle had events. Boxing had events. So I think a shout out goes to all the health commissions, all these organizations out there who saw that it could be done safely after the UFC did it and started to do it as well. But yeah, I think for me, it's probably the Fight Island was cool. That seeing and also hearing like how diligent they were in quarantining them. I got to interview some fighters on the other podcast I'm on. Shout out to Sitting Ringside, all the homies over at Fight Book MMA. About what they do. They come in, you stay in your hotel, whatever you need, they bring to you. They give the fighters their own little personal sauna to sit in. They take them to the grocery store to get your food and then come back. So the UFC was very on top of it. So whenever somebody tested positive for COVID, it's because they brought it with them. They didn't catch it there. They didn't catch it at the Fight Island. They didn't catch it at the Apex Center. They brought it with them. So I think that the resilience of Dana White, the UFC, everybody involved in ESPN, all their production company. I think it was really showcased well, and it definitely gave us fight fans something to do when we're all stuck at home on the weekends. It goes that saying, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. Now, how about inside the octagon, inside the cage?
Inside the cage?
Yeah.
Honestly, it would have had to been Figueroa versus Moreno. I mean, the best fights to me are the ones where I can't sit down.
Yeah.
I'm yelling. I'm getting in trouble because they're about to call the cops because it's a disturbance in here.
Yeah.
And I almost lost my voice on that match.
Yeah.
And other than the Izzy fight, I don't remember another fight in 2020 where I was that.
Yeah.
I guess emotionally invested.
Yeah.
And it even had that storybook ending where it's a draw, where it's like, come on, man. You know, like it just had it had everything in it. It had a kid that, even though he was ranked number 1, wasn't supposed to be in this title picture.
Yeah.
This match shouldn't have happened unless both fighters fought on the same card and had a quick finish. I mean, it was just the story and the emotional aspect of it was just a perfect fight.
Yeah, like there were some really great fights before, but this is a championship fight for a division that was like teetering between being completely dissolved, right? And now you said we have the fight of the year, and now we can't wait for the second go around in 2021. That for me, I said so much story on the bone, like you said. Brandon Moreno was cut or the last pick in the UFC, or no,
last
tough
pick in the
tough,
and then gets eliminated right off the bat.
But then comes back and wins on the finale. Gets cut from the UFC completely, comes back, and then now has probably the fight of the year. Now is a star for sure in Mexico, especially the mixed martial arts, where that country really needs one because Yair Rodriguez is nowhere to be found. Because USADA can't find him.
Has he filled out his form yet?
I don't think so. But yeah, so that's it. I think a lot of memorable moments in a crazy year, but definitely thanks to the UFC and all the other fight promotions out there for going out there and putting the shows for us to talk about and for us fans to kind of forget everything for a little bit. So that's it for round number 2. We're going to come back and switch gears and talk about professional wrestling, kind of year in review, which wrestlers had the best year so far as well. So don't go anywhere.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. We're going to switch gears now, talk about professional wrestling. So let's get this timer started here. Albert, 2020, who had the best year overall? Because obviously it's not like professional wrestling it's not like win-loss, right?
Yeah.
Who had the best storylines, the best progression, the best matches?
I mean,
who was the top guy for you, or top guy or woman in 2020? Top superstar, top wrestler. Sorry.
Ooh, top superstar, top wrestler. You're gonna hate this, Alex. You're gonna hate it.
Okay.
But I'm going off of just TV time, actual stories that develop, and it's going to have to be Cody Rhodes.
No, it's not.
Look. Hear me out here.
Talk about TV time. It's easy to get TV time when you create your own organization and create your own TV time for you. It's not because he's the top guy and there's a demand for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He gets a lot of flack because his stories are the most emotional ones, but he has stories. Jon Moxley, their champion, the best thing he had was the Eddie Kingston thing because they had a history prior to AEW. So there was some good storytelling there. And the champion, Chris Jericho, I mean, that guy is gold no matter what he does. But the storyline on that was very inconsistent. He would go from here to there. And I get it. He's trying to put over as much people as possible. So it's harder to be more invested in the story. And Cody Rhodes was just solid all the way through. He even had I hate Superman. I really dislike Superman. But he even had a little, a little Easter egg in there why he made his hair black because he was actually doing the Superman reference.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that he was turning heel. So he actually had storylines that had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And I don't think nobody else can say that. But before I didn't want to leave it at Cody Rhodes. But at the very end, because 2020 hasn't ended, Kenny Omega, like he always does, stole the show. I mean, this kid, talk about layers. When you want to talk about any athletic competition, you want to talk about the greatest movies, they all have layers. And there's not a guy in the business right now that has more layers than Kenny Omega.
All right, so I wasn't going to go here either, but you really made me mad with the whole Cody Rhodes thing. Again, you can have a beginning, middle, and end when you're writing your own stuff for you, when you're creating your own TV time, when you're going to your boss and say, hey, I want 20 minutes today because you know what, I'm Cody Rhodes and this is the only way I can get 20 minutes on TV because I created it for myself.
But to be devil's advocate, Randy Orton has the keys to the kingdom.
No, it all stops with Vince McMahon, bro. You know it is.
Inconsistent stories that he was having with Bray Wyatt. I don't even think they finished the whole Drew McIntyre saga.
But that's just WWE. That's just Vince McMahon. It all stops with Vince McMahon. Everybody knows that. And AEW, they say it's Tony Khan, but as much as I am a Mark II, like, come on, dude. You know, like, I remember when we first when AEW first launched and Tony Khan was at Talking Jericho, and then he asked him, so Tony, who are some of your favorite wrestlers? And he's all, Chris Jericho's one of my favorites. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, Goldust. Like, you just named me the AEW roster right now.
No, I knew he was a Cody mark when they asked him, what's your best tag team match, and he put Cody versus Goldust.
Yeah.
Like when they
the Stardust and Goldust.
Yeah,
right?
the matches, and I was like, come on, man, like
again.
Stop.
Everything Cody Rhodes does, I'm like, okay, I don't count because one, I never liked the guy even in WWE to begin with. He has a character, and I just don't see anything appealing to me. He's like bland. So 2020 year of the big dog Roman Reigns, bro.
Oh, wow.
You tell me, okay. Once the pandemic hit, he stopped wrestling, and all of a sudden comes back, turns heel, demolishing his yard. 2020 year of Roman Reigns. You made me say it. I did it. I said it now. The big dog, 2020. Not even he's even overshadowing Drew McIntyre, who's been there all year, who's been the guy all year. Dude, 2020 Roman Reigns, the big dog. Even at a half a year for Roman Reigns is equal to a whole year for most wrestlers. And that's from our boy Guillermo, who couldn't join us today, but he's probably jumping for joy to saying that I'm acknowledging the big dog Roman Reigns. And also Sasha Banks had a good year too.
No, Sasha Banks always has a good year.
Yeah.
But just to give you a little bit more push on that Roman Reigns, I will give him this. When he came back, turned heel, I gave him respect. I mean, people won't believe it, but that's actually a tough position to be in when you're getting pushed so hard as a face, and then finally you do the switch. Yeah. The switch is always so critical in wrestling, and he did it right, and he did it at the right time. And then again to add to his push, I wasn't invested until I heard the whole he started throwing down I'm the head of the table, and then he not only did he feuded with his real live shoot family member, but he did what I think everybody in the business need to do, and they get a guy who should be higher up in the thing, and he gave was it Jimmy or I forget which one a push that he wouldn't have gotten no other way. And respect to that. And if this does not lead up to him facing The Rock for who's the head of the table, then I'm make you apologize that he had a good year, Alex, because about if it's all about how you finish. Yeah. And if we don't get the end of that storyline, what was the point
it will
of head
happen
of the table?
Once everybody's vaccinated and back and allowed into stadiums and what? Because The Rock ain't gonna wrestle in the Thunderdome. Come on now.
Yeah, and I get it, but I'm just saying we better get that. How many times has WWE done this where they put the carrot out there? And then they're like, you know what? We couldn't get to it, so we're just going to race it and do something else.
Maybe they should hire Cody Rhodes as a writer. Everything can finish. That's it for round number 3. We're going to come back and talk about our favorite moments in professional wrestling. Coming up next.
5-Round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for the round number 4.
If you guys could only hear our rants off camera.
Yeah, I had a shoot interview right now with on this Cody Rhodes 2020 pick. So now that we kind of focused on the superstars and professional wrestlers and stuff like that. Favorite moments?
It would have to be Kenny Omega turning heel.
Going to Impact?
And going on Impact.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this, even though I think there was better moments in wrestling in 2020, I glanced up and I saw that UK match that they had. What a brutal match that was. But I don't think... Like Kenny says, he's out there to make history. I don't remember the last time I cared about Impact.
Yeah.
And was like, you know what? I'm gonna check. I made a conscious effort to make sure I was open at the time Impact was gonna start, and Kenny did that.
Yeah.
So you got to give you that was such a huge thing. I mean, whenever one organization and another organization kind of meet together, it's a very rare and special thing. It's very difficult, especially because they're all trying to eat, and I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was like the coolest thing so far, 2020. Obviously the WWE Thunderdome, getting that thing was kind of what they kind of took from the NBA. Had the fans within the looking at them in the monitors. That was kind of cool. But for me, it would probably have to be Kenny Omega going heel, and then going to Impact and kind of. I think he even said like on Instagram, which belt do you want me to take next?
Yeah,
he has like a survey going up. Yeah, I think that I'm hard pressed to find something else that it was that good. Yeah, I can't. I mean, NXT had some good.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's other wrestlers that had really good matches. Whatever,
yeah,
but
like moments.
We're
like
talking about moments. That has to be it.
What about the Undertaker's kind of farewell, goodbye thing?
I mean, to me, that's bittersweet.
Yeah.
I thought it was visually shown very well.
Yeah.
The Paul Bearer thing was awesome. Visually, it all looked good, but it's one of those things where like you need fans.
Yeah.
It's different when DC fought his last fight to nobody in attendance.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as bad. Like, it's almost like fitting.
Yeah.
But for the Undertaker to go out without, hearing those live chants, I don't know, man.
Yeah. What about you want to touch on Sting a little bit?
I mean, it wasn't even a moment for me. Legit. I'm shooting right here. I'm shooting from the hip.
Okay, go for
Literally,
it.
They show his music. It's Sting. He comes out. I'm not going to lie to you. I went and checked on like whatever I had in the microwave. Like I legit I came back. He was still doing his thing. It didn't matter to me. I am not a Sting fan. Never was a Sting fan. I don't pop for Sting. I don't like guys that steal gimmicks. I just don't like it.
You know what? Was a big moment though. Like,
yeah.
It was a big moment.
Yeah, it was a big moment.
I think that was probably the three, right? The Kenny Omega heel switch and going to Impact.
Sting's arrival.
Sting and Undertaker's kind of final farewell thing. Those are a lot, probably the biggest ones.
And the Thunderdome, like you said.
Yeah, and then also I think Sasha Banks having 2 episodes in The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of cool.
That's a wrestling moment.
Yeah, I don't think WWE.
Shout out to Sasha Banks getting such a big role.
I don't think WWE even announced it, did they? Or like, hey,
again, I'm telling you, Vince all over his head.
Yeah.
If he was smart, he would have capitalized on that.
Yeah.
Come on, like you got your top woman wrestler in the top
streaming show. Yeah.
Come on now, how do you not do anything?
Wonder if it's like a Warner Brothers Disney thing, right? Because isn't USA owned by Warner? And then like
still, man, I don't know.
I bet you
gotta capitalize.
If Sasha Banks is on like a Harry Potter, they'd be like, oh.
Wait, I bet you when Hogan was doing all his like trash movies, they're all over.
Right? Yeah. Well, I think when Stone Cold was on Nash Bridges, that's an old throwback for all you guys.
Oh, but best believe they Ms. and Mrs.
Gets pretty, that's just as equally as great as Sasha Banks being on The Mandalorian. Also, shout out to New Japan Wrestling, man. I am a mark for Jay White. That guy, he had a pretty solid 2020 as well. I think he stole the briefcase from Ibushi. Bullet Club is still going strong.
Yeah.
Just follow the good bad guy Tama Tonga.
Tama Tonga is so gold, dude. That guy. It's funny because I get upset when I see wrestlers that I would like if I were to like be in a bar, they bump into me, and I wouldn't be scared, to approach them. I don't like those wrestlers because like I gotta be intimidated. Tama Tonga, whoo. I'll be scared just to go ask for a picture.
Yeah,
that dude is real.
Well, he's clean shaven now.
He still scares me, bro.
So we'll
I'll
see
mess with them.
What the real Bullet Club has in store for 2021, right? Because that's a war coming out with the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega now.
Real quick, if you haven't already, the figures haven't come out. New Japan got with a company called Super 7 to come out with these figures. Mm. They are ridiculous. I mean, these Japanese anything, it's all in the details.
Yeah.
If you go look up these Super 7 figures of the New Japan guys that are coming out, Dude, they got like 50 hands, 10 different types of head styles. The wardrobe alone is ridiculous. Like, legit, go look at these figures. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be the best wrestling figures, period.
I'm going to get my Bullet Club ones. So we'll go from there. Also, if you guys are, New Japan World is like $8 a month. Just as like it's equivalent to W Network. A ton of back library stuff. And you can watch their new shows too. Both have English commentary and Japanese commentary. So check it out, man. Again,
I always hate extending the rounds, but sometimes you just have to extend the rounds.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Rocky Romero, he did like a U.S. version too of New Japan. Although, because there's American wrestlers that are New Japan, and obviously they couldn't travel over there, so they did like a little tournament, stuff like that. So even that, I mean, they were working on 2 different coasts.
Yeah.
And they put over I guess you would have to say friend of the show, because we used to videotape him back in the day in EWF, was Ryan Taylor.
Yeah.
He actually came out on the New Japan thing, and I think it was because of that now he's in NXT.
Now he's Tyler Rust, I think.
Tyler Rust, I think. Yeah. So you know him as Tyler Rust, but man, we recorded when he first started.
What was that? King of the Streets, KOS.
KOS,
that was the group he had.
Just so you know, we know.
In the Empire Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
So shout out to.
So again, just to put over New Japan a little bit more. I mean, just to do coastal stuff is amazing.
It's never lack of content for professional wrestling fans. That's for sure. All right, we got one more round coming up next. We're gonna kind of switch gears and not talk about MMA or wrestling. We're talking about it, kind of everything else in 2020: sports, pop culture, streaming. What was the best thing for us? Coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Fifth and final round.
If the audience only knew what happens off camera.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a Patreon thing, like where you could hang out with us in between rounds.
That's a dangerous thing. You better pay for the tea we spilling.
About. 2020 started off really bad with Kobe Bryant passing and his daughter Gianna and the others in the helicopter crash. Got even worse with the pandemic. But it kind of got okay, right?
Man, honestly, zombies could have came out, and I wouldn't have been shocked. I was like, well, yeah, of course, that's the next step.
You got the civil rights protest, which is really good, really very much needed. FiveRoundMMA came back. We've always been talking about it. We've always been talking about it. Kind of, it was never ever permanently put away. It was always on the back burner while we kind of did some other things. But for you, 2020, what was some of your favorite things? We're gonna try to focus on the positive here.
Honestly,
the positive.
The funny part was the streaming. The Mandalorian. Wow. It was a good series to begin with, but it's hard, I think, for a series to continue being so hot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I was just naive to think that Game of Thrones could just give me 8 seasons of just amazingness. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
In the series, it doesn't really. Even in Breaking Bad, you can argue that last season lost some steam.
Yeah, the last couple episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, and with that said, I know it's difficult, especially when all eyes are on you. But I think not only did the Mandalorian deliver. Damn, Jon Favreau had to go make the Boba Fett story too. I mean, and then introduce Boba Fett back into the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, that sadly that show was my highlight of 2020.
So like Star Wars almost coming back to prominence, right? It's almost like nobody's. It's almost like
people slept on it.
We're gonna forget everything that happened to episode 7, 8, 9, and just like. This is like kind of the
Dave
Star Wars.
Filoni, man, guy's a genius. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna look up and see which SpongeBob episodes he did, because dude, that guy's.
It also should be noted that since we're going back here, but since the very second that it was announced that J.J. Abrams was going to take over the Star Wars franchise, this guy right here, Albert, he was throwing fits, and like anybody who would listen say this is the wrong guy for it. It's going to be bad, and. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't very good either, was it?
And I kept telling people in interviews, he keeps saying, "I'm inspired by Star Wars."
Not a fan of it.
Inspired by Star Wars,
but not a fan of it.
Exactly. You need to have there's great directors that are fans of Star Wars that will do good. I mean, the fact that they didn't even learn their lesson from Rogue One. Rogue One was freaking amazing, and yet, no, you know what? You know who's gonna save this franchise? J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
A quick little backstory too. J.J. Abrams actually filmed at our school while we were at Cal State Northridge, and I didn't give 2 hoots that he was there, dude. He's lucky there's so much security there. I felt like giving him a piece of mind. This is way before even Star Wars. I'm talking about Cloverfield.
Yeah,
I was
Lost.
I was in Lost. I was upset over that stuff still. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I think definitely streaming was definitely the highlight for me as well. Mandalorian, can't go wrong with that. I'm trying to think what else I watched. Actually, The Boys.
Oh, that, yeah.
I started and finished The Boys. It's an amazing show.
I have a new term for shows, and that's GOT level.
Yeah.
The Boys is GOT level.
Definitely is, right? I also just started Raised by Wolves on HBO Max. At first, I didn't know what the hell I was watching.
You gotta
It's insane. I'm 2 episodes in already.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty out there, man. It's kind of a weird like android, like what it's just a weird premise of like the world being destroyed by atheists and people of religion, and they did not clash, and like they destroyed Earth, so now they're out in space trying to colonize different planets, and androids are trying to raise humans to not believe in anything. And
I always believe if you give Ridley Scott some money, he'll produce.
Yeah, it's definitely out there, man. But you'll know after the first episode of this show's for you, and I definitely offer your recommendation. Check that out. We're in LA. We're in California, LA area. Lakers winning, Dodgers winning. I mean, doesn't get any better than that, right?
Well, it does. If LAFC would have won, that would have been the cherry on top. And they had 2 chances. They could have won the MLS, and they could also won the international tournament that they were having. They lost both of them. So that's a little bit upsetting. But yeah, it's awesome to see Lakers and Dodgers. Lakers because Kobe Bryant. My voice literally cracked. I can't even talk about it. My eyes, we got water, damn it. Yeah, just because of the whole Kobe Bryant thing, I think it was well deserved for the organization.
Yeah, the whole
and then for the Dodgers, I mean, I became a Dodger fan late in my years just because, and shout out to Yusuf Puig, because if it wasn't for Puig, I wouldn't even be a Dodger fan, because I met him at the Quake Stadium. Coolest guy in the world. I didn't know how I was not supposed to be invested in a player like that and an organization he was playing for. And but I just remember from since 2000, I think I've been hearing Dodger fans cry and complain. I mean, I didn't know what was worse, a Dodger fan or a Raider fan. And thank God the Dodgers won that World Series, because it's a lot better. The atmosphere of a Dodger fan is a lot better now.
Yeah, the good thing is the Lakers and Dodgers are both primed to be in there for the next few years as well as top contenders. Definitely a year to be really get you to appreciate what you have as opposed to what you don't have. And hopefully now we can kind of see, 2021, let's go out there and get it. So stay safely out there. The return of 5-Round MMA, definitely a highlight for me as well. I think 2021, we might be switching some platforms here, so you might see us on different places where you can catch sports podcasting, so we'll keep you updated on that as well. But Albert, what can people expect from 5-Round MMA in 2021?
Well, hopefully we get into, no lie, if you go watch our first year or two, I don't know if we were just naive to think that we can do so much, but man, we had a heck of a first 2 years. We had such good interviews. We covered fights, and so that's what I'm hoping for 5-Round MMA. I hope we give you a little mix of everything. I know people love seeing us, but I know there's like those hardcore fans that love hearing just fighters in general, seeing fights in general. If it's not outside of UFC. And I feel like we provide that, so hopefully we get back to that.
Yeah, so if you guys want to catch our backlog of podcasts, interviews, when we recorded fights, they're all on our YouTube channel, just YouTube/5RoundMMA. It's FIVE-RoundMMA. Make sure you visit 5RoundMMA.com. We have links to everything there. Old articles I used to write as well. Keep up to date with us on social media, on Instagram and Twitter at 5RoundMMA. Both of them, it's FIVE-RoundMMA. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, put on notifications on YouTube, all that good stuff. We try to be as active as possible on social media. So if you guys have any ideas on shows or guests, shoot us an email at 5roundmma@gmail.com. If you have any sponsorships, any companies you want to give a shout out to, again, get a hold of us on social media, on email. It's at 5roundmma@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to us, whether you're on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, or you're watching us on YouTube. Again, thank you so much. happy New Year's. We'll see you guys in the new year. This is the last episode of 2020, so be safe out there and have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in.